Welcome everybody to beautiful downtown Gatlinburg, Tennessee. And for today's adventure, we are here at the Hollywood Star Car Museums. Now, it has been probably 7 or 8 years since I have been here, and they have remodeled since. So I'm super excited to see what they have done to the place. But today's adventure, we are doing all things Fast and Furious related. We're gonna check out all the Fast and Furious cars they have on display, and we're also gonna check out all things Fast and Furious related in the gift shop. So strap in and let's get furious. And right outside the entrance here, we have Lettys 71 Chevy Nova SS from Fast 9. Take a look at this beautiful machine here. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. Right here beside Lettys Nova from Fast 9, this 67 Charger, also from Fast 9. It's not as iconic as Dom's 70 Charger from the original Fast and the Furious. However, this is from the flashback scenes from the movie where young Dom faces off against young Jacob. They also have these little information boards inside of the cars here. But right out here at the entrance, two very, very awesome cars. I do want to go on record and say, for a very small fee, you can actually sit in some of the cars that they have on display here. So when we get into the museum here, probably towards the end, when we check out the gift shop area, we're gonna go back and see if we can sit in some of the cars and get some pictures. All right, so we have our tickets. Now we have to go through the gate, but we're gonna check out the gift shop on the way out. All right, so I was completely unaware that they had this car. This is from Fast 9, the Fast Saga. This is the Chevy Monte Carlo late model stock car, driven by Jack Toretto, the father to Dom, Jacob, and Mia. And this little information board right here says, in 1989, Jack Toretto participates in a late model race on short track with his sons Dominic Dom and Jacob working in the pit crew. Dom argues with rival racer Kenny Linder about his dirty tactics during the race. Linder's car clips Jack's bumper, causing his car to crash, killing him. In later flashbacks during the film, it is revealed that a week after, Dom is arrested for beating Linder to near death. While serving his 2-year sentence, Dom recalls that Jacob had worked on Jack's car the day he died and concludes that his younger brother's actions led to his father's death. This tragic event is the driving force behind Dom's family first approach later in life. So yeah, the whole plot pretty much in Fast 9 is finding out why Jacob was bad. But right here to the left is Jack Toretto's car, the Monte Carlo, from the race scenes, the flashback race scenes in Fast 9. It's kind of like tucked away right here in this corner, but we're gonna go around and take a closer look here in just a second. I was just right next to the information board, but Speed Center, Glendale, California. So right there is the little gate that you have to come through to scan your ticket to come into the museum. Right here to the left is Jack Toretto's Monte Carlo from Fast 9. But it's even got his name on it right there, Jack Toretto. So this is the car that you see in the film. Obviously not the wrecked one that blew up and shit, but that was CGI, because there's no way that that car would have wrecked and gone up on the fence like that. I mean, I don't know anything about like stock car races and stuff, but I'm assuming that wreck was a little over the top. But this is probably one of the only remaining ones. C&J Engineering there. Yeah, this is really cool. I totally overlooked this when we walked in. I thought it was like just like a celebrity stock car or some kind of NASCAR. One that maybe like Dale Earnhardt owned or something, I don't know. Right next to the front entrance from Fast and Furious, the 4th installment of the Fast and the Furious franchise, we have the blue Nissan Skyline GTR R34. However, I want to warn you guys that this is not an actual GTR R34. It is actually a GTT. We will go into that here momentarily, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a wraparound right here. Get a feel for the car. It's beautiful. So on this information board right next to the car, it says Fast and the Furious GTR driven by Paul Walker, the fourth installment of the Fast and the Furious franchise. And it explains a little bit about why it's a GTT instead of an actual real GTR. So it says, when it comes to alpha dogs, they don't come more alpha-ier than Nissan's legendary Skyline GTR. And though the new R35 GTR may have eclipsed the R34 in performance, there's something still iconic about how the old R34 looks. Plus, it didn't hurt that Paul Walker had driven an R34 in Too Fast, Too Furious, so it was easy to bring back. And fun fact, Paul Walker actually pushed the director to bring the R34 back. So the reason why you see an R34 is because of Paul Walker. The second paragraph here says, but that didn't mean there was a large supply of R34s that picture car coordinator Dennis McCarthy could just pull out of some warehouse. And in order to save some hassle, what they really wanted wasn't all-wheel drive GTRs at all. Instead, the production sought out and bought appropriate vintage 98 to 02 Skyline GTS and GTT models, which had the same look as the GTR, but were rear-wheel drive. Not only was it cheaper, but also saved the mechanics the hassle of disconnecting the front drive shafts so stunt drivers could drift the cars effectively and do a big standing burnout before the big street race. So real R34s are all-wheel drive, but the GTTs were rear-wheel drive. So that's why you see it doing a burnout there, beginning of the street race. And the bottom of the information board here says, for Fast and the Furious, there were a total of 6 Skylines used to portray FBI agent Brian O'Connor's most significant ride. There was also a fiberglass GTR replica shell that was mounted to a Volkswagen dune buggy chassis for some of the off-the-road scenes. This is a production number 2 car and was used in the first race scene of the movie. And then over here we have a photo of P-Dub next to the car. Rest in peace, Paul. So when we visited Rusty's Movie and TV Car Museum in Jackson, Tennessee, he's the one who has the dune buggy Skyline. That one is the one that goes down the hill when Brian says, sorry car, and then turns off and goes down the hill, breaks that deck looking thing, and then goes down the steps onto the next road back into the race. So this is the production number 2 car. So it is still a stunt car. Yeah, we're gonna check out the inside of this. Take a look, the inside of the car here. The same car that Paul Walker drove. How crazy is that? So I'm thinking later when we're done with the tour, I might sit in this to get my picture taken. Also, I just noticed here on the windshield that the windshield is cracked. I wonder if that's from production. Also, I just wanted to point out that the Skyline at the end of Fast 9 is not the same Skyline used in Fast 4. Just to clarify some things. Also, really quick, I just wanted to say about the GTT here. There were a total of 7 cars used. The hero car, which is the more flashier, most beautiful version of the GTR, is actually over in the UK. So there is no actual GTR here in the US. The hero car itself is overseas. So anything that you see here in the US is either a GTS or a GTT disguised as a GTR. And 2 of them, actually 3, I know are accounted for. I can't disclose information on the third one, but Hollywood Star Cars here has one of them. Rusty's has the Volkswagen version, the dune buggy Skyline, and then the other one, I know where it's at, and I can't give too much information on that, but it is one of the cars used in the film, one of these stunt cars. So there are 3 in existence that I know of here in the US, and the hero car, as I said before, is overseas. So a few years ago, I did the filming locations to Fast and the Furious 4. Those location videos can be found in my Fast and the Furious playlist right here on my YouTube channel. So feel free to go and check it out and see where this car raced at, because this is the stunt car that was used for the race, and I actually found the location where this car started out at the race. So feel free to go back and check out my other Fast and the Furious themed videos as well. And right here, almost directly behind the Fast 4 Skyline, is the blue GTR from Furious 7, also driven by Paul Walker. Just do a quick view here. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the cars that I have been really looking forward to seeing since we started this trip, and I love how they have that giant banner right there behind the car. So with the unfortunate passing of Paul Walker during the production of Furious 7, they had to improvise a little bit with how to keep his character in the film and finish it up. So the only time you see Paul with the GTR is when he is in the parking garage on the phone with Mia, saying if she doesn't hear from him in 24 hours that she needs to take Jack and move on. Him standing next to the car is pretty much the only shot you see of him with the car. Now all these stunts and everything were his actual brothers, Cody and Caleb. And I want to say when Brian is going through the warehouse being chased by the group of guys, that's Cody. There's a behind the scenes photo of Cody standing there with the bulletproof vest on and stuff. But the driving scenes was all Caleb. I've actually met Caleb a few times, and you can definitely tell the difference in voices. Paul's voice is a little bit different than Caleb's, so they had to figure up a way to make it work after his passing. So, little fun fact that I'm honestly really unsure if Paul actually drove this car, but from what I've gathered and research, it was Caleb that actually drove the car, and Cody did all the stunt work. And this is inside of the GTR here. I was looking for the button that he hits when he says, "Going old school," but that's just a start-stop button there in the center. I was really hoping it was the going old school button, but it's not. But that's the steering wheel and the center console there, looking inside of a GTR. And I think Ramsey sat right here in this seat too. Now the car does have a carbon fiber trunk area, carbon fiber side skirts, and a carbon fiber hood. This little information board here talks about the Nissan GTR used in Furious 7, the Black Edition Alpha Package, 2012. It says between 1969 and 1974, and again between 1989 and 2001, Nissan produced a high-performance version of its Skyline sedan named Nissan Skyline GTR. This car proved to be iconic for Nissan and achieved much fame and success on and off the track. Now see right there, I was talking about earlier, that's actually Paul when they were filming the movie. From the first appearance of the Skyline in Too Fast, Too Furious until his last film, driving this car, the GTR is the car most often associated with Paul Walker's character, Brian O'Connor. With factory midnight blue paint, plus the carbon fiber hood, side skirts, and trunk kit, this Hero 2012 Nissan GTR has been further upgraded with an alpha package by SP Engineering that increases the car's performance to nearly 700 horsepower. Ooh! 7 cars were used during filming, 6 were damaged, possibly to be repaired and restored, leaving this as the sole undamaged survivor. So, there was quite a few GTRs that were blown up during the filming of this movie, but this is the only one that remains. And I'm definitely thankful that Star Cars here has this GTR because, man, this, honestly, out of all the cars, even the GTR from 4, the GTR R35 here is honestly one of my favorite cars that Brian has ever drove. So kudos to them for being able to keep this car going and for everyone to see. Also, a couple years ago, I did the filming locations to Furious 7. I do plan on revisiting those locations here very soon with an updated video of the Furious 7 filming locations, but feel free to go back on my channel and check out my Fast and the Furious locations video of Furious 7 and my Fast and the Furious playlist. So in between the Furious 7 GTR and the Fast 4 GTR, they have this frame here with the movie covers on it. And it says, live life a quarter mile at a time. We'll go over here to Too Fast. It says, cross the line one more time, even though I don't remember that quote being in the film. We have a Tokyo Drift one down here that says, if you ain't out of control, you ain't in control. I don't remember that being a quote either. And we have Fast 4 that says, is all really necessary to apprehend 2 men. I feel like that was in the film. But right here in the center, they have a Fast 5 poster, and it's signed by Vin Diesel right there in silver. We had Dom at the top and Brian at the bottom. Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor, Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto. And the bottom says, one last job, then we disappear forever. Fast 5. So working my way towards the back of the museum here, right next to the entrance where you scan your tickets to come in, they have an ultimate racing experience where you can actually sit here. I think it's like 10 bucks, where you can sit in the chair here and you can pick any car from the museum. It's an advanced motion driving simulator. Yeah, right there. Drive one of Hollywood's most famous cars featuring cars from the Hollywood Star Car Collection. $14.99. So you can pick any car here in the museum and drive it here in this simulator. So there are 2 seats. So that's new. This wasn't here the last time I was here. That's a pretty cool idea. And just making our way through the museum here, we have the ice charger from Fate of the Furious. Man, this thing is massive. But super cool though. Let's take a quick walk around and check out the car in itself. That's a really cool version of the Charger. I don't know why everybody hates the 8th movie. I really like it, and I'm a little biased because some of it was actually filmed in Cleveland, being that I'm from Ohio. I actually did the filming locations to that movie, so you can go and check out those locations on my Fast and the Furious playlist on my YouTube channel. Right here behind the ice charger, we have these information boards here. We're gonna kind of skim over this and talk about the ice charger a little bit. This one here says, we all know that Dom has to have the best rides in the film, and this is definitely, they spelled definitely wrong. Right there at the top, when it comes to, they also spelled that wrong too, full on custom, this body was all made in-house at Vehicle Effects with the aim to keep the original look of the Charger, but with added toughness. The Vehicle Effects team also must balance building engines with enough power to perform stunts, yet enough reliability to operate in adverse environments around the world. They settled upon a standard drivetrain for most Fast and Furious movie cars. The ICE Chargers built for filming Fate of the Furious are powered by Vehicle Effects standard 400 plus horsepower, a built LS3 V8 matted to a turbo 400 transmission, a sidewinder shifter perches atop the blocky transmission tunnel, a series of dashboard toggle switches operate visual effects and the drivetrain. Though the ICE Charger shares its power plant with other Fast and Furious cars, its drivetrain is entirely new. The ICE Charger boasts 4-wheel drive and 3 locking differentials. For the Iceland scenes, its traction was enhanced to over 1,000 spikes in each tire. For a hot rod stance, the ICE Charger features much larger rear wheels than front wheels. And the last one down here says, as picture car coordinator for the Fast and Furious franchise, many of Dennis McCarthy's creations are destroyed while filming Fast and Furious movies. McCarthy cannibalizes most of the remaining vehicles, that's a weird choice of words, installing their drivetrains in the next installment's vehicles, but occasionally a very unique, like the ICE Charger vehicle survives. So the wheels on this thing are massive. So each one of these tires here were equipped with 1,000 spikes. Is that, or is that not crazy? I mean, you can tell the stance. It sits up like that. That's wild. So yeah. So right here is the inside of the ICE Charger. That's so cool. Sidewinder shifter there. And then we got the little switches right there that Dom hit. Never take your foot up off the tiger's neck. So the other information board here also talks about the ICE Charger. It says, in the Fate of the Furious, Dom Toretto finds himself cut off from his crew and working alone. The master mechanic returns to what he knows and builds the most gnarly custom Charger ever seen on film. He must race against a nuclear submarine across a frozen Iceland, it's pretty much like a lake, carrying a huge electromagnetic pulse device. The ICE Charger proves just the tool for the job. And right here it says, California-based Dennis McCarthy is the owner of the Vehicle Effects custom car shop. He is also the Fast and the Furious picture car coordinator, having been the driving force behind the franchise's vehicles since Tokyo Drift. With each new film in the Fast franchise, Universal Studios gives McCarthy a list of stunt-ready custom cars for the movie, and he builds them. His shop creates multiple versions of most hero cars, each with different purpose. McCarthy estimates that half of the cars he builds are destroyed during filming. The ICE Charger built for the Iceland chase scene is one aggressive muscle car. It is held together with a fully tubular open frame. The composite second generation Charger body is defined by one of the widest body kits available. The fenders are riveted to the body and a row of rivets lined the windshield and all the window openings. The engine rumbles and shoots flames through a gaping side exit exhaust. So here's some cool facts I found online about the ICE Charger here. While one Charger was blown up and another crashed, 4 have survived filming and are stored away. This being one of them here in Gatlinburg. And it says it has a supercharged Chrysler V26 Hemi V8 in it. And in the trunk area here, you will notice some very strange configurations. To the left is the EMP that Dom stole in the film. And it says, the trunk area, there is a fuel cell, a turbine from a helicopter, and the EMP that Dom steals in the movie. So that's a turbine from a helicopter, and it shoots flames. That's freaking sweet. And also, you'll notice back here that there's no exhaust. The exhaust was moved because if there were on the back, it would melt the snow behind the car and it wouldn't get any traction. Plus, the side pipe makes for good shots. So they have a photo studio here. You can get your photo taken in the cars. An 8x10 frame for $21.99. A 4x6 for $13.99. And then there's a double right there if you do the 4x6. So I'm pretty excited to see if we get any photos in the cars today. And I just noticed right here at the checkout counter towards the back of the museum for $17.99, they have these enamel pins set of 4. Fast and the Furious. They have a Hollywood Star Cars right there. They have the Eclipse, Dom's Charger, and the Skyline. I might have to pick those up. And moving right along here, we have the 1966 custom Peterbilt truck from the movie Hobbs and Shaw, the spin-off movie. It says, in a spin-off of the Fast and the Furious franchise set after the events of 2017's Fate of the Furious, the film sees Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham reprise their roles from their main series as Luke Hobbs and Deckard Shaw, respectively, and also stars Idris Elba, Vanessa Kirby, Aiza Gonzalez, Cliff Curtis, and Helen Mirren. The plot follows the unlikely pairing of the titular characters as they team up with Shaw's sister, Kirby, to battle a cybernetically enhanced terrorist, Idris Elba, threatening the world with a deadly virus. This tough-as-nails semi is made for long hauls on the highway. Built in the final minutes of Hobbs and Shaw, it goes off-road, handling dirt roads with ease during a heart-stopping car versus helicopter chase. So, the ending of the movie when they're in Samoa. It probably doesn't hurt that this particular 1966 model was heavily outfitted just for the flick, with huge tires, turbos jutting out on all sides, and barely enough ground clearance to get by. Even with all that, the Hobbs and Shaw crew still managed to perform automotive acrobatics in a semi-truck with jumps and drift turns galore throughout the movie's final stretch. So that's the little information board they have right here. And there is the poster right next to the custom Peterbilt truck. Let's see if I can get a better shot of it. Oh yeah, right here. Look at that thing. So this thing was driven by Jason Statham, aka Deckard Shaw, and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, aka Luke Hobbs, was on the back, and he had one of these chains connected to the helicopter that they were dragging around here. So it's even got the like custom paint like the Samoan heritage. But dude, these tires are massive. You see they're still like kind of dirty in a way. I wonder if that's like from the filming of the movie. I know most of the time when car museums bring in cars, they clean them up, make them look all nice and stuff, but this thing's tires are dirty, and the fact that like they're dirty makes it even cooler. It gives it that effect. But I think this thing is super cool. Let's check out the inside. Oh man, that's crazy. And to think Jason Statham sat right here. And it's actually an open area too. Like there's no back to it, there's no glass. So, oh, there's even a picture inside of it. Hobbs and Shaw. Man. I just want to take a look. Yeah. Peterbilt. Turbonetics turbo on the side of it. Let's take a look at the passenger side here. Yeah, there's the picture. I actually enjoyed Hobbs and Shaw. A lot of people didn't like it, being that it was the first spin-off of the Fast and the Furious movies, but I like the the crazy, funny arguments between these two throughout the movie. And then when they go to, when they're not allowed to leave the country and they have to figure out how to actually leave the country, they change their identity. And I think one of them is Mike Hunt. And then that one was Hobbs's identity. And I think Shaw's identity was Hugh Janus at the end credit scene where he's sitting in the cafe and he gets surrounded by the cops. They said, "Hugh Janus, come out with your hands up." So I enjoyed Hobbs and Shaw. They're supposedly coming out with a Hobbs and Shaw 2. I don't know when, but we will see after the next Fast and the Furious movie when it comes out, how it sets up for the rest of the franchise. But yeah, this is the custom Peterbilt from Hobbs and Shaw. Also worth noting here, they have the 2006 Harley-Davidson VRS CR, previously owned by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson here. It says, in the Fast and the Furious movie series, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stars as Lucas Rebecca Hobbs. That's a Hobbs and Shaw reference. A government bounty hunter and DSS diplomatic security service agent. In Fast 5, he is trying to bring down Toretto's crew, which is his #1 priority. In Fast and Furious 6, he comes to Toretto to help bring down Owen Shaw, which is Deckard Shaw's brother, the leader of an international crime syndicate, as brother seeks revenge, Deckard Shaw in Furious 7. Agent Hobbs returns in 2015's Furious 7. The Roadster-inspired VRS-CR street rod sets a new standard and a bold direction for the VRSC family, combining style and performance in equal measure. The newest member of the VRSC family is decidedly more aggressive with its upright riding position, inverted front forks, 40-degree lean angle, 1130cc Revolution V-twin engine, and tuned suspension. The original owner of this motorcycle, Dwayne Johnson, donated this 2006 Harley-Davidson to an online auction to raise money for a children's after-school program called After School All-Stars. As national spokesman for the program, Dwayne Johnson visited 7 nationwide locations during the Gridiron Gang movie tour. So there he is in Fast 5, and that's him during his wrestling days. That was probably like early 2000s. But this right here is his motorcycle, The Rock's motorcycle. That's pretty cool. And then right over here is him hosting the After School All-Stars thing. And that's the original certificate of origin for the vehicle, the bill of sale. It's got his name right there. His autograph, printed and signed. So, The Rock's autograph, Hobbs' autograph, Dwayne Johnson. But yeah, they have The Rock's motorcycle here at the museum. And for the last portion of the lower level of the car museum here of the Fast and the Furious cars, we have the 1963 Ford Falcon Ronin resto mod built by Jeff Allen and appearing in the Fast and the Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Jeff Allen originally came to fame as a co-host of the short-lived show The Car Chasers, which aired on CNBC for 40 episodes over 3 seasons from March 2013 to February 2015. The Car Chasers was a show centered around Allen's Flat 12 gallery, where he would acquire and restore rare and celebrity cars like those from Tim Allen's collection and Hollywood cars like the movie Too Fast, Too Furious. The show was broadcast internationally by the Discovery Channel and appeared as Auto Mechanicos and Texas Garage in some foreign markets. Since then, between celebrity appearances at car shows across the country and the SEMA show in Vegas, he also hosts the acclaimed podcast Skid Marks, which combines rock and roll and cars. Although he has a stable full of cars, Alan didn't have one that he could have fun with. You don't drive a celebrity car or a movie car like you stole it. When he came across this 63 Falcon one day, he knew he'd found his fun car to build. He decided it was going to be a car that would be at home on the street, a weekend autocross event, or the amateur classes at the SCCA at local track. A Resto Mod is a classic car that has been restored but modified with modern parts and technology. Aesthetically, the vehicle looks the same until you look under the hood or reach for the radio. This vehicle was built by the Roush prepared 5.0 Coyote motor and Roush supercharger that generates 675 horsepower, Recaro seats, fully caged body adjustable suspension, bare 6-piston brakes, fuel cell, MagnaFlow exhaust, and a full dashboard out of a modern Mustang GT. In the 2019 film Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, this car was used in the 2019 film Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw, this car was used in the Hobbs Brothers Jonas workshop in Samoa in the movie and DVD special features. So you can see the car parked right there behind Luke Hobbs, aka Dwayne Johnson, and also there is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. They are all from the same Samoan descent. But ladies and gentlemen, right here we have the 1963 Ford Falcon Ronin from Hobbs and Shaw. That thing is cool looking. I'm digging the like the paint job on it. Like it's like matted, but it also looks like crazy old. And back there we have the Hobbs and Shaw poster. Over here we have Jonas's garage when they're in Samoa and they ask for help. But seriously, really cool. So now we're up here on the second floor and we are coming up to the second half of the Fast and the Furious cars. And right here, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Corvette Stingray from Fate of the Furious, driven by Letty Ortiz in the scenes where they are in New York, which in actuality was filmed in Cleveland, Ohio. I did the filming locations on that. You can go back through my Fast and Furious filming locations videos and find that in my playlist if you want to go see where this car tries to catch up with Dom as he becomes a rogue agent, if you will. But this thing is crazy cool. It's the inside of the Corvette there. Where's the button that she hits that shoots out the harpoon when they harpoon Dom in that intersection? Take a closer look here. That's really cool. See, there's an information board over there that I'm gonna go read here in just a second, but I wanted to give you guys a little peek, little view of the car here. It's a beautiful car though. Like, I'm not much of a Corvette guy, but this car here is actually really sweet. This is the 1966 Corvette Stingray, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty Ortiz from the Fate of the Furious. In the latest edition of the Fast and Furious movie franchise, The Fate of the Furious, Brian Hobaugh's incredible 1965 Chevy Corvette Stingray was the inspiration for Letty's C2 Corvette in the New York City chase scenes, which was actually Cleveland. The car is really a 65, so why is it referred to as a 66? The side vents on the B pillar were molded over after in 1966. The original owner did that for a cleaner look, and it looks like a 66 model. Explained by current owner Brian Hobaugh, when they created copies for the movie, they refer to it as a 66 to keep confusing people. True to Hollywood standards, Brian's vet plays the hero car part as Lettys 66 Corvette. In fact, Brian's car won the 2013 Optima Ultimate Street Car Invitational presented by K&N Filters. Only 7 cars in the world have ever held that title, so it's no surprise that Hollywood came calling. And down here, of the 27,720 1966 Corvettes made, only 3,366 were rally red. The 1966 Vet came standard with Holley carburetors, and subtle differences between the 66 and previous years were elongated vertical Corvette script on the hood and square mesh plated cast grille. For the film, this car is equipped with a new 400 horsepower Chevrolet Crate engine, upgraded brakes, suspension, and other safety features. So in the film, they actually switch between New York and Cleveland for the scenes. Cleveland stood in for New York because of tax purposes, and it was cheaper to film in Cleveland. But right there are the only 2 scenes that you see Lettys Corvette in New York, the warehouse where she gets it, and then when they are riding around downtown by Times Square. But check this out. This is the title. Oh, hey, there's me. The title of the Corvette right here. The issue date, March 21st of 2016. There's her sitting next to the car. So this is the driver's side of the car here. I'm digging the black and red color schemes. Where's the NOS at? Actually, I don't think this car had NOS in the film. When Dom hit the NOS to get away from Letty when she is chasing him, Dom hits the NOS and then Letty hooks him up with a harpoon. So I don't see the harpoon switch. Must have been just added for the film. So right here we have the Aston Martin DB9, driven by Jason Statham in the Furious 7 movie. It says, after defeating international terrorist Owen Shaw, Dominic Toretto, Brian O'Connor, and the rest of the crew have separated to return to more normal lives. However, Deckard Shaw, Owen's older brother, is thirsty for revenge. A slick government agent offers to help Dom, which was Mr. Nobody, and company to take care of Shaw in exchange for their help in rescuing a kidnapped computer hacker who has developed a powerful surveillance program. They were referring to Ramsey with the God's Eye. And that's the title, a copy of the title of the car right there by Universal Studios. Universal Studios title and the call sheets. The call sheet is created by the production and used to the cast and crew to inform them where and when they should report for filming each day. So this is where they would have filmed and what scenes they would have used in the car. Like right there it says the gas pedal scene, a gas shot, a brake pedal shot, stick shift shot, shifting shot, downshift on paddle shot, aggressively turning right to left, a lighter turn. These are all in Shaw's car. So that's what they would have used. And down here it says, when delivered, this call sheet was found on the trunk of Shaw's Aston Martin. Notice that both the DB9 and Brian's blue GTR were on set for filming this day. Yeah, so the ending chase in Furious 7, where Shaw is chasing Toretto around the streets of LA, at the same time, Brian's GTR was also on set when he was trying to get away from the drone sent by Mose Gioconda. Aston Martin Lagonda is a British manufacturer of luxury sports cars and Grand Tours, founded in 1913 by Lionel Martin and Robert Bamford. Aston Martin became more well known as a luxury Grand Tourer in the 1950s and 60s. One of the most famous movie cars is the Aston Martin DB5, driven by Sean Connery and James Bond in the 64 film Goldfinger. 50 years later, Deckard Shaw drives the latest version of the DB line. The DB9 has a 420 horsepower 6.0 liter V12 engine with a top speed of 186 miles an hour. And right here it says, during the final climatic chase and fight between Deckard Shaw and Dominic Toretto, multiple Aston Martins were used So when they're on top of the parking garage, and then Dom and Shaw face off and they start going faster, heading towards each other, and they wreck, this is the car that they use. One was destroyed as it was involved in a head-on collision with Vin Diesel's Charger, like I just said. Right there. The cars were attached to cables and driven into each other by remote control. I didn't know that. With each car traveling at 40 miles per hour, the resulting damage to the DB9 was massive. So you can see them squaring off right there. I actually really like Fury 7. Fury 7 is one of my favorite movies out of the franchise. But little does anybody know that the parking garage scenes were actually filmed in Atlanta. I've done my research, and I will be doing a Fury 7 revisit filming locations video sometime in the future. I just noticed that says Ramsey on it. So before I show the Aston Martin, I just wanted to show you guys these cool Furious 7 posters here. I've never seen this middle one here, or the one to the right. Uh-oh. Dom's Charger over here is starting up, but ladies and gentlemen, this is the Aston Martin used at the end of the movie when Shaw is chasing them through the streets of LA. Well, where in actuality they were between Atlanta and LA. So this car is one of my favorite villain cars. Continuing on the Fast and the Furious collection here, like it says on the side of the wall, right here we have Roman's Bentley from Fate of the Furious, where he's like, no, 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 not my Bentley, this my baby. When he is harpooning Dom when they're at the intersection, trying to capture him. So this is a little bit of a walk around of the car, and it's missing its taillights. Huh. The 2005 Bentley Continental GT, driven by Tyrese Gibson as Roman Pierce. When the crew learn from Deckard Shaw that Dominic Toretto will be traveling to New York with Cypher, Little Nobody, on the advice of Mr. Nobody, tells them that to catch Dom, the gang needs to be damn fast. Takes them to a warehouse on the docks. That will be their new base of operations. Inside are the seized and repossessed cars taken from drug dealers on the East Coast. After Little Nobody rejects Roman's appeal to drive a Lamborghini Murcielago, he settles on a Bentley Continental GT. He can then be seen in the background tinkering with the car to chase after Dom, including the mounted harpoon on the roof, which is not there. After hearing on police scanners that an army of cars are driving themselves, which was also filmed in Cleveland, the gang immediately recognizes this as Dom and Cypher's work and chase after him and their cars, including Roman and his Bentley here. The gang moves through Times Square, which is actually shot in Times Square, not in Cleveland. They switch back and forth. Before cornering Dom as he tries to escape, Roman chases after Dom, and he and Tej drive through a park, which is actually a park in Cleveland. I can't think of the name of it. Perk Plaza. That's what it's called, Perk Plaza in downtown Cleveland. The gang eventually trapped Dom with harpoons, but through the nitrous oxide system, Dom is able to escape and flips Roman's Bentley. This is the green screen special effects and interior shot car. The engine and drivetrain have been removed to make the car engine lighter for the green screen, as Roman is seen flipping upside down. Roman always gets the short end of the stick with being flipped around and all that stuff. So this car here was used for green screens and interior shots. So this was never technically on the streets of New York and or Cleveland. This was specifically used for interior shots, and as you can see, there is no harpoon on the top of the car there. And there's also no rear view mirror. They took that out so they could get their full window shot and not have to have the the rear view in the shot. But this is inside Roman's Bentley here. No, 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 not my Bentley. All I can hear is Roman saying that. That's funny. This is actually a really cool car. So the Bentley here is a 4.2 liter twin turbo V8 6.0 twin turbocharged W12 engine. A total of 4 Bentleys were used for the scenes, including one that had a camera mounted to the back, presumably for composite shots and to film other cars. But this was the interior shot car. Now this car here, there is so much history just behind this specific car here alone. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because I'm on a time limit and I'm running out of time. So I'm just going to kind of go over this car really quick. This car was once owned by John Lapid, who unfortunately passed away a couple years back. So his car was actually rented by Universal Studios, and they painted it green. They added some stuff to it. But John Lapid's car, when he owned it, was actually silver. But like I said, Universal Studios rented it. They changed the colors. And as you can see, the rims are not the Axis 7 rims that you see in the film. But a lot of stuff was added to this car. And what sucks about this particular car is that people come here and they try to be sneaky and take shit off the car, like the door handles. And I wouldn't be surprised that the side view mirrors are gone. But I know somebody, damn, it scares the shit out of me every time it starts up. Somebody tried to take the gas cap. They actually stole it some years ago and they were gonna get in trouble, but they ended up returning it. They actually tried to sell it. But if they returned it, they wouldn't have gotten in trouble, or so that's the story that I heard. But so after Universal gave back John his car, I believe he returned it back to silver. But then he sold it to George Barris, and then Barris completely pretty much destroyed this car because you see all the crap on it. So George Barris bought this car for $55,000, I believe, from John Lapid, and they returned it to green. But these wheels are the original wheels that were on the car when John Lapid owned the car. So these are the original wheels. They are not the Axis 7s, like I said, that you see in the film. But I want to take a closer look at the inside of the car, so that all the shit. Oh, wait a minute. They must have took it off because there was a lot of crap that George Barris put on this car. Like there's a bunch of different gauges, a bunch of nonsense. And I do believe that the roll cage, I watched the interview with Craig Lieberman and John Lapid. They did have a roll cage in the car, but you'll notice the passenger seat is missing. That's because they would put the camera down there on the floor for interior shots. Let's see. Yeah, the rear view mirror is also gone. Hollywood Star Car Museum's there. The Sparco Torino seats with the Sparco seat belts, those are accurate. I mean, it's got the gauges and stuff, so if you guys have seen photos online of what this used to look like, there was a whole bunch of stuff inside this car that George Barris put on it. So let's get the carbon fiber stuff on the inside there. But it kind of sucks that George Barris and his team did all this stuff. I mean, there's stickers all over the windows, but that's just because Star Cars has their stuff on it. But I'm trying to go on the NYRA circuit. You heard about that? So yeah, they bought this car because Fast and Furious was an iconic movie and they wanted to sort of keep it the way it was. Also in the film, you'll notice that there is no front thing piece right there. But back then, the car was, I'm trying to think, it had a Blitz body kit. It was not a Robocar body kit. Confirmed that by John Lapid. And then they have the carbon fiber hood there. The roof scoop, which does absolutely nothing. It's just for looks. But you can see right here, it's starting to crack off. It's starting to come off. That's so sad. Such an iconic car. Just being, oh, there's a NOS tank way in the back there. But the gauge is right there on the passenger side. Just imagine Brian driving this car. Still has the neon underglows, and I do believe that this car, this is the hero car. This is the original car. So when you see Brian pull up to the car meet in the film, that is John Lapid's car. That's the best version of the car from the film. The hero car is just like a fancy version of the car, and then they use different cars for different scenes, different shots and shit. Actually, most of the cars in the film were automatic. But so the hero car is the one that you see Brian standing next to at the car meet race, and I do believe this car was actually in the first race as well. The last time I was here, they told me that it was used in the race scene. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if anybody can confirm which scenes this specific car was used for, but I believe it was the car meet and the race scenes. So it's still an iconic piece of history here, but you can see down here, George Barris Custom, North Hollywood. Oh, I like that little Fast and the Furious thing. Get one for my car. But yeah, I mean, at least they have it, and at least they are taking care of it somewhat. But I still love the car. Regardless of what shape it's in, it still has some screen accurate parts to it. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the actual car that Paul Walker drove in the movie. So right here is a copy of the title of the car. You can see John Lapid's name right there. So yeah, it was in fact owned by John Lapid, and then, like I said, rented by Hollywood, Universal Studios for the film. And then after the filming of the movie, he got it back, and then he just sold it to George Barris for $55,000. So right here, Mitsubishi Eclipse. Fast and the Furious, the first film to depict the adrenaline-charged world of import street racing, stars Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, and some of the hottest import cars ever on the big screen. Posing as a street racer, Paul Walker is in reality an undercover cop investigating a truck hijacking ring that needs to be stopped before the truckers take matters into their own hands. The street racing scenes are as intense as the title suggests, with a climatic high-speed hijacking when both the truckers and the cops make their move. The 250 horsepower 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse has been completely tweaked for the ultimate racing experience. This car features a neon green light, which was street glow, underglows, see-through roll cage, crossbeam, green interior cabin lights, and a customized center console to fit video, temp, and voltmeters, and a customized carbon fiber panels for cut-off switches, as well as an upholstered dash with carbon fiber trim. The Fast and Furious was a first in a series of films that included Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and a combined gross of nearly $600 million worldwide. Yeah, right here, Certificate of Authenticity, Barris Custom Industries. It's basically saying that George Barris owned this car. So the Hollywood Star Car Museums here in Gatlinburg owns the hero car, and then I believe Gabriel Tremblay from the Furious Garage owns a car, Rusty owns a car, so I think a total of 7 Eclipses were made for the film. And as far as I know, I only know of 3 places that have actual screen-used Eclipses here. So they actually have some props from Too Fast, Too Furious here. You can probably hear Dom's Charger in the background. It says Brian and Rome, they said Rome, are being followed. So Rome lights their car on fire with this spray bottle and lighter. and then Paul Walker's costume shirt. So this is the spray bottle used in Too Fast, Too Furious where he lights their car on fire. Look, you can see the screenshot there where he's holding the bottle and then he says, "Kiss my ass, putos." And he uses the lighter and he flicks it. So there's a lighter right there that Rome used. And then here's the shirt that Paul Walker wore in Too Fast, Too Furious. It is a Hanes Beefy tee. And I want to say Paul was it is a adult XL. So they do have some Too Fast, Too Furious stuff here. And behind Dom's Charger here, we have a Tokyo Drift poster. We have a Fast and Furious 4 poster. We have an original Fast and the Furious poster and a Too Fast, Too Furious poster here. So this whole section upstairs is pretty much the whole back wall is all Fast and the Furious cars. Fast 5 is the 2011 action film directed by Justin Lin. It is the 5th film in the Fast and the Furious film series and the 4th installment in terms of chronology preceding the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. The film stars Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster, Dwayne Johnson, and Fast 5 follows Brian O'Connor, Dominic Toretto, and Mia Toretto as they plan to heist to steal $100 million from corrupt businessman Hernan Reyes while being pursued for arrest by U.S. DSS agent Luke Hobbs. During the development of Fast 5, an effort was made by Universal Studios to move away from a street racing theme prevalent in the previous films. In an attempt to gain a wider audience, the series changed into a heist action series that utilized the cars instead of focusing on the street racing culture. This Fast and the Furious Dodge Charger, this supercharged monster that killed Dom's father and sealed Dom's fate as it became the heavy metal icon of the series. Truly, it's the one car in the series with staying power, despite being totaled twice, T-boned by a semi-truck in the first Fast and the Furious film, and barreling into an underground tunnel wall in Fast and the Furious 4. It's one vehicle that keeps reappearing in the series. Understandably, the Charger is an extension of Dom, so for the street racer to be without his Dodge is unthinkable. Beyond the symbolism in the series, new life has been added to the workhorse. Some of the changes to the Charger, big wheels and tires, better suspension, better steering, a lot of stuff that you'll never really see on screen. For Fast 5, 5 versions of the vintage Charger were built and modified. I'll bet as more of a pared down road warrior that is finally showing signs of wear and tear from its life on the run. This particular car is one of 2 used while filming the ending of Fast and Furious 4 and the Fast 5 opening sequence as Brian and the cast free the captured Dom from a prison bus. So I was right about that. The Hollywood Rockin' Country Certificate of Authenticity, the Fast 5 1968 Dodge Charger. So there's the Certificate of Authenticity. And ladies and gentlemen, here is the Fast 4/Fast 5 Charger. One of 2. I love that ending sequence of Fast 4. So you can imagine that this car is the one seen at the end of 4, the beginning of 5. Also, it makes this car much more special because it was driven by Paul Walker. So it wasn't driven by Vin Diesel, it was driven by Paul Walker. So it's the actual blower there. As far as the first Charger from the first film, it was literally pretty much just like screwed on to the hood. These ones actually have the hood cut out and it was added inside of the engine here. But check out these wheels. Oh, here we go, it's starting. Y'all hear it? And honestly, it scares a lot of people that walk through here. A lot of people have walked through while I was filming this, and everybody jumps. Earlier, this lady had her kid in a stroller, and she had to take him out because he was scared. But man, check out this car. I didn't get these RT badges for my car. I actually do drive a daily driver, and it's a 2014 Dodge Charger RT. I got it because The Fast and the Furious is one of my favorite movies, and I just wanted to drive a Charger. But check it out, there's the inside of the car there. Right here is where Paul Walker would have sat when he was filming Fast 4, Fast 5. So there's the shifter there. We got the seats, Pro Series, G-Force Racing. And one thing I'd like to draw your attention to right here in the back seat, this poster, well, technically is not a back seat, but it says "Always in Our Hearts," November 12th, 1973 to November 30th, 2013, the day Paul Walker died. And right there is Reach Out Worldwide, Paul Walker's charity. I've donated to them multiple times, and I actually wear their hoodie in a lot of my videos. They're a charity that helps victims of natural disasters like tornadoes, hurricanes, and all stuff. They're the first ones on the ground, boots running, to go help people. So the fact that they support Roe is awesome in my book. So yeah, this is the Charger. And the fact that they got a plan right here next to the cars. So one of the last Fast and Furious cars they have up here on the top floor is the 2015 Subaru BRZ, driven by Scott Eastwood, Mr. Little Nobody, who has clearly lost his little mind. It says, on the heels of 2015's Furious 7, one of the fastest movies to reach $1 billion worldwide. That's because Paul Walker died during the production of Furious 7, so a lot of people watched Fast 8, Fate of the Furious, to see how they kept his story going, one of which they kind of didn't. But it says, it reached $1 billion worldwide in box office history, and the 6th biggest global title of all time, comes the newest chapter in one of the most popular and enduring motion picture series of all time, The Fate of the Furious. Scott Eastwood appears as Eric Reisner. I really did not know that that was his name. I just always thought it was Mr. Little Nobody. The assistant to government agent, Mr. Nobody, Kurt Russell, who helps Dom's crew. They spelled helps wrong. They put kelps. This ain't SpongeBob. They help Dom's crew find Cypher. The New York City sequence sees a lot of exotics being driven around, but the subtle player here is the Subaru BRZ, driven by Little Nobody. The BRZ looks right at home in a Fast and Furious movie with its Rocket Bunny wide body kit, Toyo tires, and many of the interior panels have been removed to install a full roll cage, racing seats with harnesses for the stunt driver. The production crew built 4 identical BRZs for filming, of which 3 survived. Oh, that makes sense. I didn't think about that. So Gatlinburg has one of the 3 surviving. Okay, so we have one here. Celebrity Car Museum in Branson has the other one. And I just realized Universal Studios Florida in Orlando has the 3rd one. It's on display outside of the supercharged ride. So I've actually seen all 3 of Mr. Little Nobody's BRZs. And also, this car was in the New York scenes and also in the Cleveland scenes. Like I said earlier, you can go back and watch those scenes, those filming locations on my YouTube channel. There's a Fast and Furious playlist of a whole bunch of filming locations, car museums, and stuff. So, wow, I've actually seen all 3 of Mr. Little Nobody's BRZs now. I actually really like this car. And I kind of enjoy Scott Eastwood's character, Mr. Little Nobody. Look, Fate BRZ, the Empire State, New York. But let's take a closer look at the inside here. I absolutely love that scene when Dom's going down like the alleyway and they're all in a row right there, and he stops, and then Deckard Shaw is right behind him. And then Dom hits the gas pedal. Mr. Little Nobody's like, he's going for it. Hobbs says, it's a trap. And then Dom escapes, and then you see this car do like a little little drift type burnout, but I really like this car. Let's take a look at some of the pictures over here. So there's the car. We got Scott Eastwood in it. And right there, yeah. All right, so now we're gonna check out the gift shop area and find everything Fast and Furious related. I saw these personalized wood signs right here. They are $9.99. Try and find my name here. Let's see, Jordan. Where are we at? Right there. It's got the Eclipse on it and a bunch of other cars. Let's see, I know there's a section that says random little things on it. Best friend, trouble, they didn't have my name. They didn't have my name. That's funny. I love racing, too fast for you, enjoy the ride, drifting, street racer. Just a bunch of different wood signs here. I may have to get the street racer one. And right over here, they have a Fast and the Furious die-cast selection. They have Dom's 70 Charger, Brian's GTR R35, the custom Peterbilt, and a Hobbs figure. And down here they have the Dom and Charger combo pack, 124 scale. And right here they have the Brian and Nissan GTR R35 figure. If you press the button on the inside, the lights come on. You can kind of see the lights there. Got the Dom figure again. We have Lettys Corvette, the Ice Charger, the Skyline, Brian Skyline from Too Fast, and there's just some other movie cars. But down here, they have Brian's GTR and the Eclipse, both 124 scale. We have some 132s here and 118 in the Nissan GTR. I actually have this one right here. I don't think there's any cars here that I'll be picking up. I'm pretty sure I have all these, but they do have a little bit of a selection here. And over across from those, we have some metal stamped license plates for $19.95 each. We have Dom's Charger, we have Brian's Skyline from Too Fast, we have the Supra from the first Fast and the Furious, we have the Skyline license plate. It says Fast 9, but it's the license plate from 7. A Jesse license plate, Roman's license plate from Too Fast, his Eclipse Spider. We have Brian's license plate with his green Eclipse, and then the Evo license plate from Too Fast, and also Toretto's license plate. So those are all the Fast and the Furious license plates. They do have some other, we have Ghostbusters, we have the General Lee, the Ecto, and Bumblebee, but that's just a few of the license plates that you can actually purchase here. And on this shelf here, they have assorted 132 scale die-cast cars. They have a couple Fast and the Furious cars. They have the Supra, Brian Supra from the first Fast and the Furious. They have Dom's Charger from the first Fast and the Furious. Brian's Skyline here from Fast 4. And Brian's Skyline from Too Fast also. They have the Ecto, the DeLorean, and all the way over here they have the Batmobile. So a little bit of an assortment of 132 cars. And also up here they have the Lego Technic Fast and Furious Toyota Supra that you can build. And right here they have the Lego Skyline from Too Fast, Too Furious. And it also does come with a little Brian figure that you can see there. So they do have a couple shirts that you can buy. The left is Brian's Skyline from Fast 4, And then on the right is Brian's Eclipse from the first Fast and the Furious. They do have the Skyline in my size, but they don't have the Eclipse in my size. They have like, what's that, like 3X, but 3X, medium, and below. So I'll probably get the Skyline and maybe Eleanor, but it's looking like just the Skyline. There's also a couple other shirts up here that have Fast and the Furious stuff on it. We have, to the left, we have Brian's GTR R35 with Brian's Eclipse and Lettys Corvette up there on that shirt. It's a long sleeve shirt. And then right here to the right is just a Hollywood Star Cars shirt with all of the cars on it. Well, a few, but it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars from Fast and the Furious. So I might pick that one up and also the Skyline, but right over here in either gray or white, they have this shirt right here, Hollywood Star Cars, and it has Lettys Corvette on it, just like that one beside it. So they have some cool cups here. They have some coffee cups that's got some of the cars on it, also with the logo. They have some shot glasses with all the cars on it. They have like these ceramic cups right here that's got like a really cool logo to it. We have these metal cups here with the little clip things. We have mason jar cups, these little mason jar cups, shot glasses, and this cup right here with Brian's Eclipse on it. We got some tumblers down here, big ones and little ones, and then more tumblers down here and a black Hollywood Star Car cup there as well. There is also a little penny press here, a little souvenir. They have the Hollywood Star Cars, they have Gone in 60 Seconds Eleanor, the Eclipse, and the Batmobile. I kind of want the Eclipse, but I don't have any change on me, so crap. And right here we have more Hollywood Star Cars t-shirts, hat combo, pretty much any and every size. So here on this shelf they have 2 double packs. One has the Charger, Dom's Charger, and Brian's Supra. These are 132 scale double packs. And then right over here is the Skyline double pack, one from Too Fast, Too Furious, and then the other Skyline from Fast 4. So these double packs are actually pretty cool. And right here next to the entrance, they have bottle opener keychains with just a bunch of different names and stuff on them. All right, y'all, that's gonna be a wrap on the Fast and the Furious cars here at the Hollywood Star Car Museum in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, downtown Gatlinburg. And as you can see, there's a lot more people out here from when we first got to the museum. We got here right when doors opened. It's like, we spent like 4 hours in there. There's so much stuff to see. And they've added quite a few more Fast and the Furious cars. A couple from Fast 9, Brian's GTR from Fast 4, a couple of cars from Fate of the Furious as well. Because I was here 7 years ago and they only had like a handful of the cars. But seeing the GTR R35 from Furious 7 definitely made me emotional because that was one of the last cars that Paul Walker actually drove. Also, seeing the Eclipse, the Hero Eclipse as well, rest in peace John Lapid. It's just a cool place to see all kinds of Fast and the Furious cars. And I got a whole bunch of Fast and the Furious goodies from the gift shop. And I got to sit in the GTR R35 and then the R34 from Fast 4. I got my picture taken in it. I'll show you guys the photos of both of those. And it's been a day. This is for all the Fast and the Furious fans here, much like myself. So we're gonna end things here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate that as well. And remember, keep it fast, keep it furious, but always keep it safe. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.